A single saffron crocus bulb costs about 50 cents. And in 3 years, you're looking at $30,000 in revenue from one small field per year. Sounds impossible until you realize specialty crops aren't competing with industrial agriculture. They're playing a completely different game. So which plants actually make money? And how do regular people turn dirt into profit? Keep watching, because some of these are going to surprise you. Let's get one thing straight right now. Nobody becomes a millionaire overnight with plants. Anyone promising that is selling something, probably a course. But here's what is true. The right plants, grown intelligently, sold to the right markets, can generate serious income. We're talking $50,000 to $100,000 per acre for some crops. Compare that to corn at maybe $800 per acre, and you start to see why people are getting interested. The secret isn't the plant itself. It's the market. You're not competing with massive farms in Iowa. You're finding niches. Restaurants that want fresh microgreens. Florists who need specialty flowers. Herbalists looking for organic medicinal plants. These markets pay premium prices because industrial agriculture doesn't serve them. That's your opening. Let's start with the most profitable plant most people have never heard of. Ginseng. Not the stuff in energy drinks. Real ginseng. The root that takes 7 years to mature and sells for $600 to $800 per pound. A quarter acre of ginseng, if you do it right, can generate $100,000 when you harvest. But here's the catch. 7 years. You're planting an investment that doesn't pay off until your kids are in middle school. Ginseng grows wild in forests across the eastern United States. But wild ginseng is overharvested and expensive. A cultivated ginseng grown in artificial shade structures matures faster but sells for less. The real money is in wild simulated ginseng. You plant it in actual forest, let it grow naturally, and wait. It's essentially passive income if you've got wooded land you're not using. Plant it, mark it, check on it occasionally, and come back in 7 years with a shovel and a lottery ticket. The market for ginseng is huge, mostly in Asia where it's used in traditional medicine. Dealers buy directly from growers. You don't need to find customers yourself. The infrastructure exists, but you do need to follow regulations. Most states require permits to grow and sell ginseng because of overharvesting concerns. Do your homework before you plant a single seed. Saffron, the most expensive spice in the world, selling for $5,000 to $10,000 per pound. Why so expensive? Because you need 150 flowers to get 1 gram of saffron threads. That's the dried stigmas from inside the flower. 3 stigmas per flower, harvested by hand, dried carefully. It's labor-intensive, but the margins are incredible. Here's the beautiful part about saffron. It grows in terrible soil, clay, rocky ground, places where nothing else thrives. That's what you plant. Cost about 50 cents each. Plant them 4 inches apart in rows. In the fall, purple flowers appear. You harvest the stigmas early morning, dry them, and suddenly you've got a product chefs will pay obscene amounts of money for. A quarter acre of saffron can produce 3 to 4 pounds of dried saffron per year once established. At $8,000 per pound, that's $24,000 to $32,000 from a plot of land the size of a large garden. The work is in the harvest. You're picking thousands of flowers, pulling out tiny red threads, being careful not to damage them. But the math works if you can handle the tedious labor. Lavender is next. And this one surprises people. It's profitable. The cut flowers sell to florists. The essential oil sells to aromatherapy companies. You're essentially growing 3 different products from one plant. An acre of lavender produces roughly 1,000 pounds of flowers per year. Dried flowers sell for $10 to $20 per pound wholesale. That's $10,000 to $20,000 per acre just from flowers. But the real money is in the essential oil. 1 acre produces about 15 to 20 pounds of lavender oil per year. Therapeutic-grade lavender oil sells for $100 to $150 per pound. Suddenly, you're looking at $30,000 to $40,000 per acre if you're extracting and selling oil. The startup cost for lavender is higher than some crops. You need plants, irrigation, and if you're doing oil, a still, but lavender is perennial. Plant it once and it produces for 10 to 15 years. Your investment amortizes over a decade. Plus, lavender farms attract agritourism. People pay to walk through lavender fields and take Instagram photos. Some farms charge admission. It's another revenue stream from the same plants. Bamboo is a weird one that actually works. Not the bamboo you're thinking of. The invasive stuff that takes over yards. We're talking about specific ornamental and timber varieties. Landscape designers love bamboo for privacy screens and Asian-inspired gardens. The problem is bamboo takes up space and spreads aggressively, so most nurseries don't want to deal with it. That's your opportunity. Container-grown bamboo plants sell for $30 to $150 each, depending on size and variety. You can grow hundreds in a small area using pots. The plants multiply through underground rhizomes, so you're essentially cloning them for free. One mother plant becomes 10 plants in a year, 100 plants in 2 years. The math gets exponential fast. The market is local landscapers and homeowners. You're not shipping bamboo across the country. But in any decent-sized metro area, there's demand. List your bamboo on Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace, local gardening groups. People find you. Some growers make $50,000 a year from a backyard operation. Mushrooms are the crop everyone talks about, and most people do wrong. Yes, gourmet mushrooms are profitable. These sell for $12 to $20 per pound to restaurants. But mushroom cultivation is finicky. You need sterile conditions, precise temperature and humidity control, and consistent attention. Mess up any variable and your entire crop molds over. Here's how to actually make money with mushrooms. Start small. Really small. Grow 50 pounds a week, not 500. Find 2 or 3 local restaurants that want fresh mushrooms delivered twice a week. Build relationships. Once you're reliably producing and selling 50 pounds a week at $15 per pound, you're making $3,000 a month. Not millionaire money, but it scales. The startup cost for mushrooms is reasonable. A few $100s for equipment, supplies, spawn. You can grow mushrooms in a basement, garage, or shed. You don't need land. That makes it accessible for people without farms. But you do need time. Mushrooms fruit fast, but they need daily monitoring. This isn't a passive crop. Microgreens are the opposite of ginseng. Instead of waiting 7 years, you're harvesting in 10 to 14 days. These are vegetable seedlings cut just after the first true leaves appear. Chefs use them for garnish and flavor. They're delicate, they don't ship well, and they need to be fresh. That means local production has a huge advantage. Microgreens grow in trays under lights. You can stack trays vertically, so you're using cubic feet, not square feet. A 10 by 10 growing area with shelving can produce 50 to 100 pounds of microgreens per week, at $25 to $40 per pound wholesale. That's $1,250 to $4,000 per week. The margins are insane if you've got the market. The challenge with microgreens is the market. You need restaurants or high-end grocery stores committed to buying regularly. You're delivering fresh product twice a week minimum. It's a logistics business as much as a growing business. But once you've got reliable customers, the money flows. Some microgreen growers clear $100,000 a year from a spare bedroom and a cargo van. Hops are having a moment because of craft beer. Brewers want locally sourced ingredients, and hops grow well in many climates. Hop plants are perennial vines that grow 15 to 20 feet tall. You need trellises, which is an upfront investment. Hops produce for 20 years. Yield varies by variety and growing conditions, but 1,000 to 2,000 pounds per acre is typical. Shops sell for $8 to $20 per pound depending on variety and whether they're fresh or pelletized. That's $8,000 to $40,000 per acre. The high end requires selling directly to breweries as fresh wet hops within 24 hours of harvest. It's a narrow window, but the premium is substantial. The craft beer industry is huge and still growing. Small breweries want to differentiate themselves. Local hops are a selling point. If you're within 50 miles of several craft breweries, you've got a market. Visit them, bring samples, build relationships. Hops aren't a commodity crop where you're competing on price. You're selling a story. Garlic is unglamorous but profitable if you grow the right kind, not the stuff at the grocery store. Hard-neck garlic, specialty varieties with names like Purple Stripe and Rocambole, sell for $10 to $20 per pound at farmers markets. Growing garlic is easy. Plant cloves in fall, harvest in summer. The return per square foot is excellent. A 30 by 30 garden plot can produce 300 to 500 pounds of garlic. At $15 per pound, that's $4,500 to $7,500 from a space smaller than most living rooms. The work is in planting and harvesting, but it's straightforward. No special equipment needed, no complicated techniques, just decent soil and patience. The market is farmers markets and CSAs. People who buy specialty garlic know what they're buying and don't flinch at the price. You're not competing with grocery store garlic at $4 per pound. You're selling to foodies who want Romanian red or music garlic specifically. Different market, different price point. Wasabi is another plant everyone says is impossible to grow. They're partly right. Wasabi is difficult, demanding shade, cool temperatures, and constant moisture. But difficult means there's no competition. Real wasabi sells for $75 to $150 per pound. The paste in sushi restaurants is usually horseradish dyed green. Real wasabi is rare in the United States. If you've got the right conditions, a shaded stream or a climate-controlled greenhouse, wasabi is viable. It takes 18 months to mature. You're selling fresh rhizomes to high-end restaurants or processing it into paste. The market is small but willing to pay premium prices for authenticity. One wasabi grower in Oregon generates $200,000 per year from a greenhouse operation. It's specialized, it requires investment, but the margins justify it. This isn't a crop for beginners, but if you're looking for something with almost no competition and ridiculous profit potential, wasabi is worth investigating. Fruit trees get overlooked because people think of apples and oranges, commodity fruits with razor-thin margins. But heirloom and specialty fruits are different. Pawpaws, persimmons, Asian pears, these sell for $6 to $12 per pound when you can find them. Most grocery stores don't carry them because they're too delicate to ship. An established fruit tree can produce 50 to 200 pounds of fruit per year. 10 trees producing 100 pounds each. At $8 per pound is $8,000 per year. The trees need minimal maintenance once established. You're looking at a few hours of work per tree per year for pruning and harvest. Not bad for passive income. The catch is time. Fruit trees take 3 to 5 years to start producing significant yields. You're planting for future income. But if you've got land sitting idle anyway, fruit trees are a long-term investment that pays dividends for decades. Bonsai trees are a niche that actually works. Not the mall kiosk bonsai. Real bonsai, properly trained, can sell for hundreds or thousands of dollars. Growing bonsai from seed takes years. But you're not competing on time. You're creating living art. The market is collectors and enthusiasts. They're buying from specialty growers, not big box stores. A well-formed bonsai that's 10 to 15 years old can sell for $500 to $2,000. If you're producing 20 to 30 trees a year at an average of $800 each, that's $16,000 to $24,000. It's not going to make you a millionaire alone, but it's profitable for the space required. The investment is time and knowledge. You need to learn bonsai techniques, wiring, pruning, styling, seeds, pots, soil. Your main input is patience and skill. For people who enjoy the artistic side of horticulture, bonsai is both fulfilling and profitable. Gourmet vegetables are the broad category everyone should consider. Purple cauliflower, specialty peppers, things that taste better or look different than grocery store produce. Chefs pay premium prices for these because they make dishes stand out. A quarter acre of intensive vegetable production can generate $20,000 to $40,000 per year, selling to restaurants and at farmers markets. The work is constant. Planting, weeding, harvesting, delivering. But the margins are good, and the barrier to entry is low. You need land, water, and hustle. The key with gourmet vegetables is relationships. Find chefs who care about ingredients. Show up with samples. Be reliable. Restaurants will pay $4 per pound for tomatoes from you when they can get them for $2 per pound wholesale. Because yours taste better, and you deliver fresh twice a week. That reliability is worth money. Herbs are similar to vegetables but easier. Basil, cilantro, dill, these have short growing cycles and high turnover. Restaurants go through pounds of fresh herbs weekly. giving you income even in winter. Culinary herbs sell for $12 to $20 per pound wholesale. A 20 by 40-foot greenhouse producing 50 pounds per week is $600 to $1,000 in weekly revenue. Over a year, that's $30,000 to $50,000. The startup cost is the greenhouse and growing systems. But herbs are for giving plants that grow fast, especially if you're near a metro area. Florists buy locally grown flowers because they're fresher and last longer than flowers that shipped from South America. Specialty varieties like Lisianthus, Ranunculus, and dahlias sell for $1 to $3 per stem wholesale. A quarter acre of flower production can yield 10,000 to 20,000 stems per year. At an average of $1.50 per stem, that's $15,000 to $30,000. The work is in planting, maintaining, and harvesting. Flowers are delicate and time-sensitive. But for people who like working with beautiful things, cut flowers combine aesthetics with profit. Willows for basketry and crafting are a forgotten crop. Wreath makers and crafters need long, flexible willow shoots, often 6 to 8 feet in one season. You harvest them annually, and the plant regrows from the base. Willow shoots sell for $1 to $3 each depending on length and variety. A small willow patch can produce thousands of shoots per year. It's not huge money, but it's consistent. The market is craft stores, individual crafters, and online sales through Etsy or similar platforms. The beauty of willows is they grow in wet areas where other crops struggle. If you've got marshy or poorly drained land, willows thrive. You're monetizing land that's otherwise useless. Plus, willows are beautiful and provide wildlife habitat. It's productive and ecological. Woody ornamentals like hydrangeas and Japanese maples sell well to landscapers. These are plants nurseries mark up heavily. A hydrangea that costs $5 to produce sells to landscapers for $15 to $25. They're propagating from cuttings, so your input cost is minimal once you have mother plants. Container production works well for ornamentals. You're growing in pots, which means you can fit more plants in less space. A small backyard operation can produce 500 to 1,000 plants per year. At an average wholesale price of $15 per plant, that's $7,500 to $15,000 from a side hustle. The market is landscaping companies. They're installing plants constantly. If you can provide quality plants at competitive prices with reliable availability, they'll buy from you. It's a B2B relationship, which means larger orders and less hassle than selling to individuals. Medicinal herbs like echinacea, St. John's wort, and chamomile have steady demand from herbalists and natural product companies. These plants are easy to grow, many are perennial, and they dry well for storage. Dried herbs sell for $8 to $20 per pound, depending on quality and certification. Organic certification increases value significantly. Getting certified takes 3 years of following organic practices, but the payoff is worth it. You're differentiating yourself from conventional growers and accessing markets that only buy certified organic. A quarter acre of medicinal herbs can produce 500 to 1,000 pounds of dried product per year. At $12 per pound average, that's $6,000 to $12,000. Not enormous, but it's reliable income from plants that mostly take care of themselves once established. Christmas trees are the slow play. Plant seedlings, wait 7 to 10 years. Harvest and sell. In that time, you're doing minimal maintenance. Shaping, pest control, maybe some fertilizer. The tree grows while you do other things. A good quality Christmas tree sells for $50 to $100 retail. If you're selling 500 trees per year from a 5-acre plot, that's $25,000 to $50,000 in revenue. The work is concentrated in November and December. The rest of the year, the trees grow on their own. The challenges are waiting for the first harvest and competing with tree farms. But if you're in an area where people prefer cut-your-own experiences, or they want to visit a local farm instead of buying from a lot, you've got an advantage. Market it as an experience, not just a product. Here's the thing about profitable plants. It's not about finding the magic crop. It's about finding the intersection of what grows well in your climate, what you're capable of producing, and what markets you can access. Saffron is profitable, but if you're in Florida, forget it. Bamboo works great, but if you're nowhere near customers, shipping kills your margin. The most successful plant growers do a few things consistently. They start small and scale slowly. They build relationships with buyers before they scale production. They focus on quality over quantity. And they diversify. Growing 3 or 4 different crops means if one market collapses, you're not ruined. Nobody is getting rich quick with plants. But people are building sustainable, profitable businesses. 6-figure incomes from a few acres. Comfortable livings from backyard operations. It's possible. Knowledge and patience. But the opportunity is real. Thanks for watching. If you're serious about profitable plants, subscribe for more deep dives. More videos coming soon.